nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though. Cocaine in my nose, got rose in my cup though. Started climbing my pole, she got me locked in on cup though.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Pinnett. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go! Donoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count out Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher wins for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Boyman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to PSGL. After what has been such a long off-season, we are back officially for season 37 here in Formula 3, round 1 around Silverstone. Now, do not adjust your TV sets. I am, of course, your main commentator, and for F3 this season, Mr. Alex Heron, also known as Deathlink. But as you can probably see to the side of me, I put it the wrong way. To the side of me, Josh Griffin Meek is no longer here. And I've had to go through the archives of commentators, and luckily I found a better commentator than Josh. but he wasn't available, so I've got TK instead. So TK is here, but you probably know TK from if you've watched stuff on SRC. You've seen me and TK do commentary over there, so we're in good hands here. So TK, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. It's one more week or one more weekday that you have to put up with me, but I'm sure you won't mind sharing the commentary box for another outing.
No, I don't mind at all. So we are here back again for PSGL. It has been an incredibly long off season because we've had to deal with certain things that need to be fixed and certain problems, but we're not going to be here the entire stream slamming the game because that is not what you want to view. You want us to view some racing, and we are going to go racing today. We have a full grid lining up for Silverstone around a fantastic circuit. I don't know if we have a track map we can have a look at.
We do.
Here we go. It is quite the incredible circuit, of course. 3 sectors and 2 DRS zones and 19 corners or 18 corners, as I've misread there. But it is a fantastic circuit, one of the best, some might say. Well, everyone says that. And we're actually there this weekend in real life as well, Silverstone. I don't know, are you going, TK?
I'm not, unfortunately. I wish I was.
Yeah, I wish I was as well. I mean, I've actually never been to an F1 race before in real life, so I look forward to one day going. But Silverstone would be a fantastic race to go to.
Yeah.
But we get to go virtually.
We do. And hopefully not just once over the course of this year. We'll be there hopefully multiple times. It's one of my favourite tracks on the Grand Prix circuit. It's one of my favourite tracks in this game as well. So I'm really looking forward to getting started here in my first outing in PSGL.
Yeah, TK's first PSG outing. Oh, I just had a failed to join session there, TK. If we can try another invite, see if that one works. Just trying to get into a lobby. I had a quick lobby restart because unfortunately some settings were not set up correctly, but it's all good now. It's all chilling, everyone. So, and actually, if you're wondering where Josh is, if you were actually curious what Josh is doing now, is basically he is such a busy boy nowadays that he can't afford to be doing this on a Thursday. He's also running all the stuff behind the scenes for PC F1, not PC F1, but all the whole PC tiers. I got another failed to join session. That is a. Do I not have crossplay on now? That's the question. Hang on, I'll find out for you. Carry on talking while I try and work out what this issue is.
Let us know in the chat how you're doing, how you're looking forward to the kickoff here of PSGL Season 37. I know I'm looking forward to it. And whilst Alex sorts it out, let's go ahead and look at how our driver lineups look. It's a whole new season, a whole new team selection. You've got Sixton and Zach representing the Alpines. It's Daniel and Race in the Aston Martins, Yelte and Larry in the Ferraris. It's Kinu and Giovanni in the Haas cars. Rihard and Angelo taking up the Saubers for this season. Tias and Tima in the McLarens. Marcel and Kuba in the Mercedes. Ryan and Thomas in the Red Bull cars. And finally, well, not finally, Ben and Tamas in the V-Carbs. And then finally, it's Thomas and Danielle in the Williams cars as well.
I mean, I've seen quite a few of these guys. This is my second or third season in PSGL. I think it's my third. Someone can correct me in chat if they're watching. I know some people are setting up the F2 stream right now, but you've got us for the foreseeable future. We will have, of course, if you guys don't know, if you're new to PSGL, we have 5 tiers here that are streamed. Currently today, we have 4 of those being streamed, being F2 down to F5. I think all the streams are going to head today. I haven't heard any.
As far as I'm aware.
As far as I'm aware. So our stream and I believe F5 have started.
Yep.
So you can tune into both of them, have them on both screens, have them, watch both of them at the same time. And then at 8 o'clock, F2 and F4 will start up officially for their start of the season. So stick with us the whole time. We'll probably just be getting towards the end of qualifying as F2 is starting. Who is running F2? Is it Omi and Sappi?
Omi and Sappi this season.
Quality lineup as well. Quality through this whole tier. Josh has done a fantastic job of getting the lineups together for this season. But we're actually jumping into qualifying now around the British Grand Prix. Now, Silverstone, of course, known for its fast-flowing corners and, of course, it being in the UK, which means rain can happen. Me and TK have been living in the UK for a long time, and we know it rains often here.
Yep, I've been in the UK for coming up 25 years in September, and I can guarantee
Oh,
I've seen more rainy days than I have summer days. But nonetheless, we still find a way to complain about either one of them.
yeah, I mean, we're very good at that. That's another British quirk, complaining. Queuing is another thing. I actually hate queuing, and I'm British. I thought we're meant to be quite good at queuing.
See, I thought I hated queuing until I went abroad and then realised I actually love queuing. But I love being able to moan about queuing, and that kind of extends beyond our personalities.
That's true. I mean, if you want more incredible talk like this, you can tune in every week for the F3. This is the kind of stuff you don't get anywhere else. Now, this is a dry session by the looks of it. We actually jumped into the game now. Just a quick spoiler for everyone. By the looks. Now, of course, just want to point out that I am not streaming. TK has set all this up streaming-wise, so thank you, TK, for doing that. So he will be doing all of the camera action on cameras, and I will do my best to keep up with the battles and point out any battles that he may have not seen.
Yes.
That's the plan.
In addition to this, we're going to try our best because
Oh yes,
we're
this is
running the
another
F1
thing, yes.
wildcards.
Yes, so that is another thing I should mention here. Now, there is still some rumors and stuff going about that the the main F1 cars are still unequal performance. I believe the system is being worked on. Now, I can't confirm or deny if these rumors are true, and I don't want to speculate because there's no point speculating because it doesn't do anything. So we're just going to go with what we can. Now, I think everyone's tried their best to try and customize their cars to what they look like in the main thing, but it's very difficult with the F1 World cars because you don't really get a lot of customization options.
Yeah, that's very true. You're not necessarily limited colours, but you're limited to where you can put that paint on the car. And I think we will definitely be seeing that over the course of this race on board with Race as they go through down towards the old pit straight, trying to get the tyres warmed up, of course. Another thing that has been infamously difficult in this game. And our drivers are doing well to adjust to it.
Yeah, I mean, this game is very different to last year's entry. I mean, they completely revolutionized the handling model, and then of course tires are very tricky to warm up, as you were mentioning. And I mean, also tire wear. We got to keep an eye on that when we get into the main race, because tire wear around this circuit is normally horrendous, but in these current modern day Formula One cars, they are pretty bad. So Jelt Korsman is going to be the first man to set a lap time in PSGL this season. So TK, in your first season here in PSGL, would you like the honours of taking us through this lap with him?
I would absolutely love to. Rounding club corner then to start the first time laps of PSGL season 37 down towards Abbey and the farm curve, braking, getting that car nice and rotated. Yellow flags already through sector 3, but it's not going to matter for this hot lap attempt. Through Village, through Aintree, they start to proceed now down the left-hander and right onto the Wellington straight they go. This is where the first DRS opportunity becomes available for our drivers, and there we go, that rear wing splitting open as much as it can. That top speed increasing for our drivers down towards the heavy braking zone, into Brooklands, into Luffield, and personally, one of my favourite spots to watch from Silverstone as they go round the right-hander onto the old pit straight through Woodcote now, and as again, it's down the old pit straight, their focus on the heavy braking zone, or not even a braking zone, down into Copse, the fast right-hander, and then immediately we'll start to focus on Maggots, Beckett, and Chappell, the infamous trio of corners, and this is what our drivers are really going to have to focus on. Where are they going to send it? I'm watching on board with Jelte here. He's doing this rather well. Through the left, through the right they go. Once again, that car being thrown left, right, and centre. And on to the hangar straight they go down towards Stowe. DRS opportunity once again for themselves. And final part of this lap through Vale now. Down that shorter straight, of course, where the pit entry has been for the last few years. Club corner, the final corner they'll have to navigate. What sort of time are they going to put on the board? That's the question. Running a little bit wide through Club, but it's not going to be invalidation. Across the line they come, and it's a 1:25.3 to kick off season 37.
1:25.3 is Jelt's first lap, but is beaten by Race with a 25.3.1, and then Ben Marples with a 25.243. And I mean, these are some rapid lap times around this circuit. And we've got Kuba there in a very interesting livery car. I love that one indeed. Goes 6 faster. And Sixton Linhart jumps to the top of the timesheets, 25.1 there. We know how fast he can be. Are you familiar with a lot of these names we're seeing here, TK? Also, that was a fantastic lap, by the way. I should mention that.
Oh, thank you. No, I've heard of some of the drivers. I'm starting to learn as well. Of course, some names I do recognise: Sixton, Ryan Grob, Ben Marples as well. But it's really nice being able to get to know the drivers, and that's what I'm really looking forward to over this season. Seeing how they develop, see how they keep up with their drives, and that is going to be the really great thing here at PSGL.
And Rihard is going to come across the line next. Let's see where he can put his car. Goes 9th fastest. Now, Rihard is an interesting one. I don't know if you know the story about this one, TK, because Rihard, unfortunately, missed out in a lot of last season's PSGL. He was removed from McLaren for reasons I won't go into. But he's back now, and he's looking to try and climb back up, because he was looking really strong in that first half of last season.
Yeah, I've gone back and had a look at some of the previous results from the last couple of seasons, and like you said, he had a fantastic start to the season. Unfortunate due to whatever the reasons may be, but obviously he's looking to come back stronger here. And P9 at the moment on their first outlap here in this short qualifying session is definitely laying down the foundation on which they wish to continue.
They certainly are. And I mean, the only two people that didn't set lap time there was Thomas Laminen, who invalidated his lap time, and Tony, who also, I don't think he even came out of the pits, was he? I didn't see him out on track. So
I believe he did. He invalidated and he
invalidated as well. Yes, but you can see, if we go quickly over to the, I'm just going to have a quick look at the gap to the leader. So between 18th and 1st right now, 0.5 of a second is the gap between the top 18. Which is absolutely mad. And the top 5 separated by less than a 10th.
Yeah, absolutely incredible stuff. The competition this season is already spicing up, already looking so close. Those top 5 will, of course, be looking to improve on their lap times as they go out for their second and third runs. But the drivers at the bottom, the likes of Thomas and Tony, who haven't yet set a lap time, are going to be the crucial ones. Where can they kind of slot themselves in? Maybe disrupt the pack a little bit.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they can do. So Tony's out on his lap. He's going to be, again, as you mentioned, slightly out of sync with the rest of the drivers, along with Thomas Laminen. I'm still getting used to which teams are which. I think it's probably best to just go by names today, because, of course, PSGL, you are put into a team. So Williams, obviously McLaren, Red Bull, but it's not really a team championship, TK. It's all about the driver's title. And I guess now this gives more of a shot to the drivers, because they're like, well, you may be my teammate, but we're not actually in the same car at the moment, so I guess we'll just go for it. And also, they're not going to have the same pit boxes as well. They don't know which pit boxes are which. So if you box the same lap as someone else, they might be your teammate and you might get double stacked.
Yeah, that's very true. It's a game of risk that some of our drivers will end up playing here. Obviously, during this qualifying session, they'll be able to try and figure out who their teammate is, maybe try and figure out who they're sharing a box with, and apply that later on in the race. But in terms of reality, if they're focused on their own laps, which they should be here in such a short qualifying session, we're ticking down to nearly only 10 minutes left on the clock. That's going to be completely out of their mind, and they're focused on the right here, right now.
Yeah, Thomas Laminen going for his first lap time of the session. Now he's got a car in front of him. Hopefully that car will get out of the way. I wouldn't say they got out of the way as quickly as they wanted. I don't know who exactly that was. Was that Thomas? It was Thomas. Let's see if the stewards will have a look at that later on. Luckily, we're not stewards, TK, because we'd let everything go past, because we just enjoy a good amount of racing. But Laminen with a good first sector there, 27-1 in that first sector. And as you said, it's a beautiful set of corners, this. But in this year's car, with the lack of grip on the tyres, it's very tricky to get the cars turned in and just keeping that rear end alive.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, add tyre wear on top of that as well. You don't want to be stressing the tyres too much on that outlap. You've got to find the balance between temperature and wear, and that is where the skill level really starts to determine how much our drivers are going to be able to succeed in a tier like this in PCF3. It's a real balance. It's not only mind games, it's physical games as well, and we absolutely love to see it.
We absolutely do. So Laminen on a great lap here. Now you can see, I don't know if we're running on board with him, but he's drained a lot of his battery, because in this year's game you can use the overtake mode on a qualifying lap. So he's really draining this battery and properly going for his first lap time of the session. Going around the final corner now. Will he cross the line? Can he go top of the timesheets? He only goes 11th, 25.4 there, and his first lap time in the session is a good one, but not good enough for the top. And Tony crosses the line, and he goes to the top of the timesheets from last to first, a 25.0, almost sneaking into the 24s, but just not yet.
Absolutely phenomenal drive from Tony there. He had a bad outlap. He had a bad first lap. He obviously invalidated, went back into the pits, and then has immediately come back out to prove himself here on this battleground that is Silverstone. 25, almost flat, like you've said. But we will see improvements on this time as the track starts to ramp up, as our drivers become more more in tune with their cars as well. And I reckon we'll easily see into the 24s here.
Yeah, I certainly imagine a 24 will be on the cards from someone. But let's find out who it will be. Sixten Linhart will be next to go for a qualifying lap. I imagine they'll get probably one more lap in after this, TK. They will come in, do their lap, and then pit, and then go for the last run.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely correct. I'm just going to just backtrack you ever so slightly. I think Thomas Baldra will be the next driver. He's going through Maggots and Beckett's at the moment. He started his hot lap as Tony finished his. So I believe it will be the driver in P11 at the moment who will be crossing the line next.
He is slightly up in the middle sector, about 8 thousandths up in the middle sector. Got a little bit of traffic. Hopefully that shouldn't affect him too badly. Got a couple of corners to go now. Clonk the apex on the left and then clonk one on the right and then get the power down, the throttle down. Can he get a nice lap time on the board? It's certainly nice, and it puts him on the front row, 25-0 there. And you said that track improvement, and it certainly was.
Yeah, fantastic lap from Thomas there, 125.079. Not quite into the 124s, which we previously discussed, but definitely up there. Ryan Grob comes across the line, jumps up into third for himself. A slight improvement there to get onto this front, well, the top box of the second row, just pipping out Sixten. And actually that third place immediately taken away by Reese there as well.
I want to point out that Linhart backed out of his qualifying lap, so he's not completing that lap. Ben Marple's currently on a flying lap as well. So many people on those flying laps here, just trying to keep an eye on everyone. Of course, we'll probably miss some people, but we'll do our best to keep an eye on things. But yeah, 6/10 separate the entire grid here, TK, from 20th to 1st.
Yeah.
Now it's 5/10 because someone's improved.
Yeah, absolutely crazy numbers. I did see a couple of drivers jumping up, jumping down as they make improvements in their lap time. Next to come across the line is Danielle, up to P9 for themselves. A fantastic lap there, up into the top 10, and I'm sure anyone would be proud of being in the top 10 in this field.
Yeah, I mean, considering how close this field is, top 10 seems like a real achievement. Ben Marples, on the other hand, thinks it's an achievement to be on provisional pole, and it certainly is. 25.006. We're sneaking into that 24, but just not enough just yet. But he's on provisional pole right now.
He is indeed. We're on board with Angelo as they come around the final couple of corners. The rear really kicking out as they headed through Club Corner there. It's not going to be a great improvement. It's not an improvement at all. It's over nearly a tenth slower for themselves. So not an ideal lap time there. Surely all of that time being lost through Club.
And you've got to think, with how close the grid is, that can happen. Those little tiny mistakes, you know, a rear step out, anything like that, and it could cost you big here. And that's why it's so important to get these tyres warmed up. Now, I want to point out a little bit of an interesting thing here. Thomas Laminen is currently down in 19th place. He is on his last flying lap of the session because I don't think he'll be able to come out again. So this will be his one and only flying lap of the session.
Indeed it will, as he gets held up by a little bit of traffic on his outlap there, going through Maggots, Beckett's, and of course Chapel as well. But it's not going to matter too much. He's just trying to get the tyres warmed up. You can see such an aggressive weave being performed by the driver there. Really, really struggling to get heat in the tyres. That's what that's telling me as they come up to the final couple of corners, about to start their final hot lap of the session. As you said, they've taken the slightly different approach to some of the other drivers here. They've gone for 2 runs instead of 3, and it actually could make all the difference with a free track ahead of them.
Yeah, let's find out if he goes for it now, and let's see if he can fire it through as we go into his last qualifying lap of the session. Watch out for that bump that's on the left-hand side. That's why you saw him weaving more to the middle of the track into the heavy braking zone. You've got to make sure you hit that apex perfectly and into the very tricky left-hander. You can't be as aggressive as you were in former years because the tyres just lock up massively, and then down the back straight, DRS wide open. So powerful in this year's game, the DRS.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a crazy situation. We've always said the DRS isn't powerful enough, and then boom, in comes F124. It's almost like prayers have been answered in a certain regard, that DRS becoming as powerful as you want it to become, especially for some of the drivers. Yes, you have the overheating now, which is an added factor that some of our drivers will have to contend with, but for the time being, that DRS really starting to become effective again.
Let's see what Laminen can do in the middle sector. He apparently was purple in the first, up by about a few thousandths of a second, and through Maggots and Beckett's. What a set of corners this is in Formula 1, and looks so smooth on the throttle there. Middle sector, almost 3/10 up, and that's purple in the middle sector. This could be a cracking qualifying lap if he can sort this final sector out. Couple of corners to go for Thomas Laminen, the TF10 driver. Can he come across the line with a lap time good enough for provisional pole or near the front of the grid. So 1 corner to go. Will he get himself on provisional pole? Oh, and he misses out by a few thousandths of a second, but it's 3rd fastest for Laminen, and that'll be, well, that's the best he can hope for, because that'll probably be the end of his qualifying.
Yeah, he's not got enough time to get in and out once again. Of course, that in-lap would be absolutely crucial, but he's not going to have the time to be able to get in, get prepped, refuel the car, set himself up, and then get out before that checkered flag starts to fly. Speaking of drivers heading out for their final lap attempts, Tony, up in P2 at the moment, has gone out a little bit earlier than the rest of the field to get their final hot lap in. This could be a good play.
Is it a good play, or could it be a double warm-up lap, or is he going to go for it here?
Well,
No, I think he's going to go for it.
Yeah, ERS turned on as they crossed the line, then down towards turn number 1, and Tony is going to set the pace here for the rest of the field. Can they find those 9 thousandths of a second they need to take top spot off of Ben Marples?
Let's see if Tony can do it. Now, you're probably thinking, why would Tony want to go out a bit earlier to set the pace rather than waiting for the best track conditions? Well, it could be a bit of a mind game here, as TK was saying. You know, there's a mind game where if you are the fastest driver on the grid, everyone is chasing your lap time. And right now, he's not looking too good. He's a 10th down in that first sector. And if you were, you know, in a regular lobby, you might think, oh, that's not enough. I can make that back. But in this kind of lobby, that's a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Thousandths of a second will really matter here in the PSGL PC F3 tier. It really comes down to those milliseconds upon milliseconds.
So going through Maggots and Beckett's up now for Tony. He's going to really have to send this one through Maggots and Beckett's. Laminen retires in the pit lane. His qualifying is over. Let's see what he can do. And he threw himself through Tony, but he's still not finding a positive in the middle sector. He's matched his best middle sector time. It all comes down to the final sector. He's going to have to throw his car into these final corners if he's got any chance of getting provisional pole. 2 corners to go. Flick it left. And then flick it back to the right. Get the power on as well as you can, but he might have overcooked it there, and I think he has. Going around the final corner. Can he get provisional pole? No, he misses out. And it just was a little too much in the end for him.
Yeah, he was trying to overcorrect. He was trying to get on that power a little bit too early. He managed to make back half a tenth through the second sector, but coming into sector 3, it wasn't enough. Rounding club corner, the power went on too early, and it all went wrong for Tony this time around.
There is quite the traffic jam in the final sector here, TK. I don't know if you can see that on the map.
Yeah, I'm trying to hop on board with some of the drivers just to see the extent of it as they come down. What is that? The Hanger Straight down towards Stowe, down towards Vale. Those sort of corners. Everyone's starting to pile up here. But the next driver that will be setting a competitive lap time is Ryan Grob. P6 at the moment for themselves and looking to improve.
Yep, looking to improve in that first sector. Already has by about 40 thousandths of a second. We'll be trying to find the middle and final sector times improved as well. Actually got the McLaren livery. Is he part of McLaren?
I believe he is in the McLaren team for this season, yes.
Well, that would make sense then. So going through the middle sector here, Maggots and Beckett's, he's got a Tony in front of him. Tony moves straight out of the way, not wanting to give Ryan a lovely little slipstream down the back straight. I'm not surprised. So Ryan's still not up in that middle sector. He's used a lot of his ERS, and maybe that's hurting him on the straights, but we're going to find out in this final sector here. He's invalidated his lap, and that's over for Ryan.
That's absolutely heartbreaking. He was on a fantastic lap, and it's all gone wrong in the final couple of corners. Rounding club corner now. He'll surely come across just to take the flag. I don't think the flag's actually flying it. There we go. And he's managed to get across the line, but surely nowhere near enough battery to set another lap time here.
So Giovanni will be the first driver to cross the line on these final runs. He's currently P7. Can he improve his lap time? Can he take himself towards the top of the timesheets? He stays 7th fast. He does improve by 5 thousandths of a second. Who is the next one to cross the line? I think that was Yelt, who goes 14th fastest. Everyone is going to be coming quickly. We'll try and keep an update for you. And Angelo goes 4th fastest. Ryan goes 8th fastest, I think. Or no, who was it? Giovanni goes 8th fastest. So many people doing lap times at the moment. It's difficult to keep up with everyone. So right now, it's still Ben Marples on pole. He's actually spun in the final corner, Ben Marples, so he can't improve his lap time. No one is really finding the pace here to try and improve. Rihards goes 6th fastest. Great lap from him. Jumps himself all the way up into the top 6. Can anyone beat Marples' lap time? Everyone's across the line, and no, they can't. Ben Marples is on pole position for the opening round here in Silverstone.
Wow, what a qualifying session we've just had. The traffic jam onto that final lap surely played the mind games on some of our drivers here. Fantastic scenes all round. Tony manages to hold on to that P2 spot. Reese hopping up there, as does Angelo. So second row of the grid for themselves. Rehard's starting off the season as he means to go on up in P6, and a bunch of other drivers managing to get up to some very good positions.
Very good qualifying session for Ben Marple's pole position, 25.006. Tony on the front row with him and Race in behind. I think we've got a classic coming up here in Silverstone. Don't go anywhere, just waiting for the end of qualifying right now. Who is it Ryan, who's the only one that's not taken the flag? Now, Ryan, if you had taken the flag, it could have gone quicker, but now we're going to have to wait for him to drive into the pits.
Yep, we are indeed. Unfortunately, would have been quicker just to come across the line, but nonetheless, he will come into his mechanics, make sure that car gets nice and service ready for the race to go on.
Well, we are just going to wait until everyone is in and everyone is sorted. As soon as everyone is in and sorted, we will get underway for this round. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be quite the season, everyone. Tune in for the whole season. How many rounds are there this... I can't remember.
That's a very good question. And we'll go have a look at the calendar in a brief moment or two once everyone gets back into the garage.
That makes more sense in my head. We're just waiting for Ryan to get pulled in by his McLaren team. I think he'll be a bit upset with his position, but here we go. We are going through the final qualifying order here. So it's Ben Marple's on pole by 9,000ths of a second from Tony, and then Race Angelo, Thomas, Rihards, Zach Miles, Tumas, Kuba, Sixton, Ryan, Giovanni, Gabriel, Timo, Tamas, Danielle, Marcel, Gelt, Tias and Keanu rounds out your top 20. 3/10 separate 20 drivers.
Absolutely fantastic stuff to kick off the first qualifying session here for PCF3, and surely this is looking to be one cracker of a season as we head into the next couple of races as well.
It certainly is. But TK, do you know why Ben Marples was on pole position?
Why is that, Alex?
Well, because he had a GTO Omega gaming chair. Take a look at this.
Well, that was Ben's cheat code, wasn't it? He had a
yes.
GT Omega chair, and that is what put him on pole position.
Put him on pole position. I can tell you there's no formation lap, TK, as well, if you were curious. So we're going to jump back into the race now, everyone. Ever so slightly to what they were before, because well, without a better term, I'm not going to swear on this channel because we are PG friendly here, but it's chucking it down here. The skies have opened, the heavens have opened, and Silverstone might have cooked up a little treat for us here.
It certainly will have done. We spoke about rain earlier, how much we love it here in Britain, and surely the rain gods have heard us and answered our prayers, and it is absolutely chucking it down over the hills of the Midlands. It'll be interesting to see how our drivers manage to adapt to this race. Of course, many of them potentially setting up for a dry qualifying session. They've got to make sure their car is ready to go in what I can only describe as torrential conditions.
Yeah, I mean, these are absolutely torrential conditions. I don't believe red flags are on either, so we're not going to get any red flags. I'm just going to have a quick check of that setting. No red flags on. Safety cars are on. Safety cars will always be on because it's safe.
Yes.
And that's what's important. Yeah, but this is, you know what? I'm kind of hoping we get a bit of a wet, dry race. We love changeable conditions.
We do. Or looking at the clouds above Silverstone at the moment, I don't see much relief in sight. I think Bert Mylander might have a bit of a busy schedule here, but Alex, lights are about to go out. I'll let you take it away.
And they are for the 5 red lights for the opening round here in PSGL F3, and it's lights out, and we are underway for the first round, and it is absolutely torrential here as we race into turn one. Marples keeps the lead ahead of Tony as we race through the first sector. And the spray coming off these cars is absolutely insane, but everyone trying to keep it in the right direction. We already have a 3-second time penalty there, 2 3-second time penalties. I think people are struggling to see the track at the moment. Of course, full wet tyres for the entire grid here, but Ben Marples has started off fantastically. He's got a clean getaway.
He has indeed. He's over a half a second gap now back to Tony in P2. The possible race strats coming up on the screen. I can guarantee you it's going to be wet tyres until the end here. We may see the occasional pit stop, but nonetheless, Richard Sprogis and Reese having a good battle here down the right-hander through Luffield. They go onto the old pit straight. There's a little bit of argy-bargy going on, but these two will surely continue as they mean to go on.
Oh, and I've seen this one before. This is a critical corner in this Grand Prix ticket. Oh, and it almost was as Richard goes wide and Race sneaks up the inside. That certainly was almost a Verstappen-Hamilton moment. Might be a Lando Verstappen moment later on this weekend. But right now it was a race and Richard's moment. And oh, Thomas just sneaking past there, Angelo. People really struggling to find the grip, and Thomas round the outside of Angelo. What a move that was in these full wet conditions.
Yeah, fantastic move by Thomas. Also, Reese up. I think Richard's actually up past Reese. I'm trying to figure out who's moved where because I can barely see here in the spray these cars are kicking up, let alone how the drivers must feel. Sixton's up to P8 as well after getting past Zach Miles. The two drivers that race together and know each other very well are going wheel to wheel here at Silverstone.
And right now, Ben Marples is checked out of this Grand Prix. 1.9 seconds up the road from Tony. Tony really struggling to get a hold of these conditions. Just riding on board with Richard. Looks like he was taming a ball through turn one. Couldn't find any grip at all on those full wet tyres. And really struggling to get it through into that sector. Giovanni battling with Ryan Grob here in the mid-pack. And this is what a full wet Silverstone can give us in terms of a treat. And Angelo looks to get back up the outside of Thomas Laminen, but didn't find the space on the inside. Now trying to chase him down. Of course, no DRS available in the wet conditions. Usually it's now enabled after one lap after the start of the race, but now it's going to not appear at all unless these conditions shift, which at the moment they don't look like they're going to.
Not at the moment. Angelo tried a little bit of a switchback through Luffield and through Woodcock, but it wasn't to be this time around. Bear in mind, it's a very long race here at Silverstone. 26 laps of racing action to come your way, and we're only on lap 2 as once again the beautiful potential pit strategies come up in our face once again. I can firmly say we're on wet tyres here, Alex.
Yeah, we certainly are. And I'm curious to see how long these wet tyres will last, because I'm not really that confident with the tyre knowledge of the wet. But look at the man who is confident right now. Richard up into second place. He's passed Tony, and whatever, you know, all of that stuff that happened to him at the midpoint of last season, he's clearly thrown it away and starting again, because he is up to second in this Grand Prix, and I think he wants this Grand Prix win, and that'll be a brilliant start to his season. We're only on lap 2, but he's absolutely flying right now as he sets a 42.3. He's on the charge.
He is indeed. He wants to try and get that 2-second gap to the lead of this race down as close as he possibly can. And at the moment, he's already taken 2/10 out as we head through the first couple of corners of this race through Abbey and down towards the loop now they go. This is going to be interesting over the course of the next 3 or 4 laps. How close can Richard get to Ben Marples, who leads this race?
And I mean, Richard is on the charge as expected. I mean, the man really wants to show off his powers in PSGL again, and I think he certainly will at the moment. It's looking really good. Tony, on the other hand, obviously started on the front row. He's still doing well in P3, but he's just not adapting to these wet conditions right now. Could that be a setup thing for TK? He might have set up for a dry race.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. The qualifying session looking so important. And I mentioned this slightly earlier. The drivers so focused on that qualifying session, they weren't necessarily thinking ahead to the race conditions. And this has really thrown a spanner in the works.
And it's one of those things, again, it's one of those things where you can set up for a qualifying session. That's totally fine. But, you know, when you have rain on the horizon, obviously the guys get an updated weather during qualifying. If it was somewhere like Monaco, maybe that'd be okay, because Monaco, you can't really be overtaken. But in a race like Silverstone, where overtakes are plenty, even in the wet, as we're seeing now, I think I would have set up for the race.
Yeah, of course, 26 laps versus maybe 3 or 4 at high speed here. You've got to take it down to the raw numbers, and that's where you've got to really try and figure it out. But there is a pass once again. Thomas up past Race as they head here through the final couple of corners through Club Corner, and it's going to be Thomas that holds it down the inside. Race will just have to settle for P5 at the moment. Gerhard Sprogis sets another fastest lap of the race.
And they're trading fastest lap. Marple set the fastest lap. Rihard set the fastest lap. We have got a treat for the lead of this Grand Prix. And we've got there's been a big crash in the back. Someone's gone into a wall. I think that's Giovanni. And I think he's come off second best in a battle. But he's come on the side. He's got no damage. I think he held it somehow. But there was quite the fight going through the midfield. And he's come back on the circuit, hopefully without any warnings. Because that was really not his fault. But yeah, this midfield battle, TK, is going on quite insane for the last points paying position.
Yeah, the temperature on the track may be absolutely stone cold nothing, but the temperature of the race is starting to spice up here. We've got battles left, right and centre, even down for P18 at the moment, but we fortunately managed to catch that instant on the stream as they went almost 3 wide, going through those collective of corners. And now it is, like you said, it's Giovanni that had to pay the consequence.
Zach Miles looking to go around the outside of Keanu, and I think Keanu very wisely there, backing out of Copse Corner. I'm not going to keep mentioning it because it gets quite old after a while. But yeah, that is a dangerous place to try and make an overtake. And through Maggots and Beckett's, you can't make one. But you know, I've seen people make moves in the wet in Maggots and Beckett's. Of course, I'm sure we all remember, you know, a 17-year-old Max Verstappen getting past Nico Rosberg in a drying Silverstone in 2016. As Ryan Grob is now going to make the move up the inside of Keanu there, up into P10. They're going to battle wheel to wheel. They certainly are. Keanu not giving that one up so easily. And he gets back into P10. Great battles as Ben Marple sets the fastest lap of the race. But then Rihard sets the fastest lap. We've got such a fight on our hands.
We do indeed. There's a battle further back as well between Kuba and Jelte. Those two battling for P12 at the moment. And it's Jelte that is being muscled out here. Even Tias Korsman wanting to get involved. They share a surname. They definitely don't want to share a spot on the track at the moment. But up at the top, Thomas and Tony are battling for P3 here. Tony trying to hold the inside, Thomas around the outside, and what a fantastic move that was.
Certainly brilliant there from Thomas, and as I said, Tony just not really adapting to the wetness of this Silverstone circuit. Maybe he knows something we don't. Is the track going to dry up later? We're not sure. Unfortunately, as commentators, we don't have access to that weather, as Yelt is battling with Kubo again, and these two are going to absolutely go flying through this circuit in a minute because they are battling so aggressively. Are we going to see Kubo? Is he going to run him out wide? He's going to give him that space, just a car's width, as they still go wheel to wheel, heading up towards Copse Corner. We can ride on board with one of them here, but oh, Zhelt just putting him behind once again. But these two are having an insane battle. Oh, but Kubo goes a little wide. And then we're going to see him move around the outside into Maggots and Beckett's. We certainly are. Is TS going to go for it as well? Oh, and he looked like he was. And for a moment, I held my breath because he might have made that move, but wisely backing out there.
Well, he went for it. There was definitely contact between a front wing and a rear wheel there. He was forced a little bit wide. He had to go to the runoff area, but fortunately managing to make it back onto the track with little damage. Back up towards the mid-pack once again. Keanu and Zach Miles still going at it. It's nose to gearbox at the moment. Rihard Sprogis sets another fastest lap of the race here, Alex.
Yep, and that time it was not beaten by Ben Marples. I don't know, you know, if I was a betting man, which luckily I'm not, TK, I would say the rain has slowed down a bit here.
I might have to disagree with you there. It's looking as heavy as it was just a few moments ago. The spray of
Maybe
anything,
it's my graphics settings.
the spray of anything is getting worse. I can barely see some of these cars as they head through the twists and turns of Silverstone. Watching here as Keanu looks for one around the outside of Zach Miles. He's trying the switchback though as they head through the loop down towards the Wellington Straight. He has the inside line. What a move that was!
But Miles still holding it around the outside. Will he break later? Who's going to break the latest? Oh, Keanu breaks so late. And it might, of course, Zach Miles a little problem because Ryan Grob has gone straight up the inside. But Miles not willing to give that one up. He's going to run Ryan out as wide as he possibly can. Yelt looking to get interested as well. We're not going to see a 3-wide moment heading towards Copse Corner because that would be absolutely catastrophic. Oh, Ryan, let's go to the inside. Oh, it's not going to be 3 wide. It almost is. Oh, my God, this is absolute carnage here. As almost Zach takes off Ryan's front wing, but Ryan backs out slowly. Almost 3 right into Cop's corner. That would have been absolutely ridiculous.
It is. We've got a 5-car train here as they headed through Cop's Corner, now through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. All of these cars, nose to gearbox, and there is barely anything that separates them. Keanu once again up a position, up to P8 after getting past Thomas, and that is going to be a beneficial move.
Oh my lord! Miles, so late to defend there, but just on the limit of defence as right now he falls into... Oh! He's into the pits!
He is indeed. Not quite sure what's going on there.
Is that front wing damage? He slowed the car down, or is he going for inters? Oh, we got a betting man on the intermediate tyres. This is why I'm not a betting man, TK. But I think there's inters in the pit lane.
There is indeed. What's he going on to? That is green ball tyres. It is intermediates.
Oh, well, we have some gamblers going for it now. And as I said, is there a chance that you're going to go for it? Maybe in that mid-pack, you want to get out of the slipstream of everyone else, not get held up. But I think it's a little too early still for them. But there is a dry line forming, a drier line, I should say, forming, as you can see here, with so many cars running around it. It's basically like running a vacuum cleaner around a circuit with, well, it's like 20 very expensive vacuum cleaners around a circuit, as the old Martin Brundle would say. Oh, we got a lovely battle going on for P5 here between Race and Angelo. Angelo's really impressed me so far, really good in qualifying, and he's looked very fast in the race so far.
Yeah, fast and fair. There's a little tap though as they head through Cop's Corner. That puts Race a little bit wide, and he's not going to be too pleased, but up goes Sixton, down through the both of them up to P5. What a move! The opportunity was there. He licked the stamp, and he sent it.
Through goes Linhart as he makes a brilliant move up into P5. And of course, no DRS is going to be great for him, which means he won't get attacked down the main straight. But this race has been absolutely cracking. For whoever said that wet races never give excitement, well, you clearly have never seen this one because it's looking so good. And Tony's in the pits now. Oh, we've got a gambler in the top 4 now. That is very interesting because, yeah, maybe in the mid-pack you can understand that. But those lap times are coming down here, TK. I think Inters are on the horizon because Thomas has just set the fastest lap time there, and he was 3 seconds behind the leaders.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I wonder if Rahad's maybe just settled in, though, behind Ben Marples. He's managed to catch the leading car, 6 tenths now, the gap. But there's, look at that, 5 drivers in the pit lane. Tony down to Tamas at the moment, and I have a feeling they're all going to be going for intermediate tyres. We'll pull the graphic up ever so quickly, and yes, all of them going for the green-walled Pirelli tyres, also known as the intermediates.
And the thing is as well, this is the longest pit lane on the calendar. Just keeping an eye on where the guys that pitted before. Zach Miles is going to get in front of the guys he was battling in the mid-pack. Did not get close to Tony or Race though, in terms of getting in front. But Danielle also jumping in front as well there. So, are the intermediates ready for this circuit so far? And the leaders will be keeping an eye on Tony's lap times because the last thing they want to do is get basically undercut by Tony, which is not what they want to do at all. So who's going to pull the trigger first? Ben Marples or Rehards? Or maybe they'll pull the trigger at the same time. Unless, of course, they've got the same pit box, and then that throws everything out of the question.
Well, that could really throw a spanner in the works for our top 2 drivers. Bear in mind, we actually don't know who shares a pit box as things stand. I think some of the drivers trying to figure it out in the chat earlier on in the break between qualifying and the race. But as things stand, we don't know.
And they're in. Ben Marples, Rehards are in. They've got to slow it down, though. They can't afford. Oh, as I say it, the commentary curse strikes again. And Ben Marples gets a 10-second time penalty for speeding the pit lane and does the fastest lap entering the pit lane.
Has the track dried that much?
I think it has. He just set a 138 in the pit lane.
Interesting.
Well, I've seen some things in my racing, in my time commentary, but I've never seen that. He Michael Schumachered it, as my good old friend Josh would say. But Marples, that 10-second time penalty is a killer.
Yeah, it's going to really hamper him later on in the race, of course. But what's going to be interesting to watch here is where they come out compared to some of the drivers that pit that lap early. Keanu and Tias both staying out. Zach Miles, there we go. Fastest lap of the race so far, 38.4 for himself as drivers start to peel out the pit lane. And this battle is well and truly on.
Tony put himself into P6 behind Thomas, so he didn't actually get in front of the man he was battling for position. The 2 that are yet to pit on the full wet tyres are Tias and Keanu, first and second. Now, the rain is definitely slowing down here, or I mean, it's definitely at a point now where it's ready for intermediates. I don't know if it's slowing down. I don't think they can wait for it to dry up. That would be... They can't Carlos Sainz this one, as he once did around Monaco. Because, again, this is not Monaco. This is Silverstone.
Yeah, of course, the tyres will have such a higher degradation level compared to a track like Monaco. You're testing them to their extremes here. The high-speed corners are what's going to really start to break down that rubber in the conditions that aren't optimal for them here. But it's going to be a test of time to see how long Keanu and Tias want to stay out, want to hold on to these tyres to. The option is there, the ability is there to go until it's dry. But there is definitely no blue sky on the horizon here in Silverstone.
Yep, no blue sky right now. It's just very cloudy, and Keanu and Tias wisely coming into the pit lane here for their new sets of tyres. So Ben Marples will retake the lead of the British Grand Prix, I should say, not the Silverstone Grand Prix. That's heresy to say that. So Marples into the lead again, but remember he's got that 10-second time penalty hanging over his head. If he does not make another pit stop in this race, 10 seconds will be added on to his finishing time. But if it goes dry, he can serve that 10 seconds in the pit lane. But considering how long the Silverstone pit lane is, that's going to be an even more of a killer.
Yeah, indeed it will. Zach Miles setting the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Up in P8, bear in mind, he's been on the intermediates 1 lap longer than some of our other drivers. So definitely they're getting up to temperature over those 2 laps compared to the other drivers 1. And everyone now starting to find their feet in the pack once again. The closest battle on the track, I believe, either for P10 or up here for P5 between Sixton and Race.
I'm surprised how little places Keanu actually lost there. I know they were leading the race, but of course they were battling mid-pack. So they actually managed to come back out mid-pack again, battling with Thomas Laminen here for P9. It's looking good right now for Keanu to pick up at least a couple of points here in this Grand Prix as he chases down the TF10 driver of Thomas Laminen. What car is he actually in? Is he in Ferrari? He's wearing red, so I would assume.
I'd make the bet that that is supposed to be a Ferrari, yes.
If you were a betting man,
if I were a betting man, which of course I'm not,
of course.
I would definitely say that's meant to be a Ferrari.
Well, here comes Keanu, who I would probably say is in a... Well, he's got Alpine on his thing, so he might be in an Alpine. So here we go. We're going to go up the inside here. No, doesn't have the main straight line speed, but I think maybe Thomas Laminen was using a bit of ERS there. Something I will mention here is Rihard's not really pushing as hard as he was. Do you think he's not doing because he knows he has that... I say that as he does the fastest lap of the race. But I mean, I was just saying, oh, down the inside, Keanu! Oh, bit of a day late and $1 short there for that move, but we'll try again.
Yeah, he's got lots of opportunities ahead of him. We haven't even crossed half race distance here for the British Grand Prix. Multiple opportunities stand in front of him. It's Alpine versus Ferrari here in the battle for P9 at the moment, and this is going to be a spicy one.
Certainly is. These two are battling it out for position. Now looking to go around the outside. Can he force his way all the way around the outside? Thomas Laminen is going to shut the door. A little bit of running wide there. Oh, Laminen's almost lost his car and he's almost taken out Yelt as well. Oh, that was so close. But reaction times from Keanu to hold it and Yelt to go around this outside. Brilliant stuff.
Absolutely fantastic. It's observational racing there. He saw the car in front, was about to lose it, potentially went a little bit wide, gave the car space, and actually ended up with the position as well. That is top tier driving for himself. And of course, that position gained for it up to P10. And now he has the Ferrari in front of him to try and challenge for some even better points.
Yep, looking to try and jump into that P9 for position here. It's looking good for the well, I don't know what car that is, Williams or Alpine of some kind. As we go down the main straight here, looking to go up the inside. Yelt looking for a little bit of a lovely move, moves up into P9 as Gabriel picks up a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. As Rihard sets the fast lap once again, but Yelt up into P9. Very late move to the inside, but he made it work.
He did indeed. He held the position. Angelo setting the fastest lap of the race there, 1:36. But down the inside here goes Keanu around the final corner. And he's going to get the position as they run down towards Abbey Corner. It's not even going to matter who breaks later. He's got the position up to P10. And also, Tias setting the fastest lap of the race all the way down in P13.
Certainly does. Great move indeed. Up position there. Now for the battle for the lead, if you're curious, as Angelo should point out, Angelo is battling for P6 right now with Race, who's currently in 6th. I think that's Danielle got past Tias as well. for P12. This is why points should go down to P12, in my opinion. To be fair, I think the entire grid should get points, but that's only my opinion. I know TK has a different opinion on that, I believe. So
I think no, I'm joking. Yeah, I think maybe 12th. That's sort of the banner where I sort of stand. I don't think full grid would make much sense. It discourages removing yourself from a race, but also it kind of benefits some drivers potentially in the later stages that they can stay in the lower positions, avoid the battles, and still come out with some points. So I think
that's very true.
Yeah, P12 is a happy medium. I think that's the best way of putting it.
Yeah, knowing F1, they'll probably put it P15 and then no one will be happy. As Angelo goes up the inside there of race, up into P6, lovely move. Easy move up the inside, and he moves up into a top 6 position. Very impressive race so far. Someone else who's having a very impressive race is Rehards. Started a little bit further down. I believe he started, if we have a quick look at the gaps between them, if I can figure out which one it is. He made up 4 places from his starting position, and now he's battling with Ben Marples for the lead, and it's looking very good for Rehards here.
It is indeed. I want to give a shout out as well to Keanu, who's up 10 positions in this race, up to P10, and actually battling quite well for P9 here. He's got Jelte just in front of him, about 2/10 up the road. He can practically smell all of the exhaust gases coming off of that Williams, and that battle is going to continue through this afternoon. Thomas behind him in the Ferrari is what he's got to watch out for. He's got to play attack and defense at the same time.
Yep, he's got to be careful of Danielle, who's closing in as well. We've got some battles going on for the minor places between Kubo and Ryan there in 17th and 18th. And this is looking all very good. Just remembered, we score on PSGL's point system, so doesn't the entire grid get points?
That's a very good question, and I will have to refer that to the audience, I'm afraid.
Audience reminders, I can't see the chat, so I'm sure TK can.
No.
Neither of us can see the chat. This may have been a bad idea. But someone DM me personally and I will find out. I know who it will be. I think it is. I think the entire grid does get points.
That would make some sense. I read through everything briefly, however the point system did not stick in my brain, unfortunately. I'm sure someone knows that person is not me, unfortunately. But we're going to watch here with TS challenging Danielle for P12, and this could be a good dive down into Stoke Corner.
Yep, it certainly could be. It is looking good. Rehard sets another fastest lap here as Tias looks to go down the inside of Danielle. Is there going to be room left? And there certainly is. Can Tias goes all the way around the outside on this occasion? It's going to be a tricky move, making around the outside here. But I think he's made it work. No, he hasn't. Just losing out. There's a bit of a bump here on the left-hand side. Got to be careful of that. Ooh, and it's not as bad as it used to be.
No, they've managed to navigate through there rather well, but they're still wheel to wheel as they run down towards the right-hander here through I'm trying to figure out where they are on the track at the moment as they head towards the loop, down towards the Wellington Straight, and still side by side. But look at this. It's Tima that wants to try and get involved from P14. They're going down the inside of Danielle up to P13, and now P12 is surely in their sightline.
Certainly is. Jumping up into that position, brilliant stuff. And Zelenkovic as well up there as well for 13th right now. And he's all white car. I believe he might be in a Mercedes.
That would sound about right. There's a fantastic battle going on for the lower place positions at the moment, being led by Tamas all the way down to Marcel, P19, and this group have been so close together.
And they certainly have Ryan up into P18. Probably not the race that Ryan has wanted for this thing. And Giovanni as well, considering he was off a minute ago. Oh, as Kubo goes around the outside of Maggins and Beckett into P15. Yeah, these 5 drivers all battling for places. These aren't even for, well, these are for points, but not for the main points, as Ben Marple sets the fastest lap. So a little bit of a change there in the pace for the lead. Oh, up the inside goes Ryan Grom. He's going to make the move up into P17 for Giovanni, fighting around the outside. And these guys all battling for these positions. It's great to see here.
Yeah, we're watching essentially Noah's Ark here. They're going 2 by 2 through the final couple of corners as they run through Club Corner for the 15th time of this 26-lap Grand Prix. And there is barely a hair's width between them. Down the inside goes Gabriel on Giovanni, up to P19.
Don't worry, we all get names confused here. That is a common thing for F3 here at PSGL. Now the gap for the lead about 9/10 of a second. Would you say? I think we're going to get stuck with Inters here. I don't think we're going to be getting any dry running.
I think what's going to be going through some of our drivers and their engineers' minds here will be that pit delta. Of course, one of the longest pit lanes on the F1 calendar. They've got to be so careful. It's a long run in, and if you can survive out on the intermediates, make them work. If the track continues to dry, will you be able to regain that delta in essentially 11 laps of racing once we cross the finish line?
Yeah, and we're on lap 15 of 26 here. Let's see if we can improve these lap times, see if they can jump further up the grid. So we're just about half race distance now, lap 15 of 26. Now, for Ben Marples and Rehards here, what is the play? Because Rehards knows right now he's winning this Grand Prix because of the 10-second penalty for Marples. But is there a case of he wants to win it on track and just wants to make sure it's confirmed, or what's going? If you're in Rehards' shoes here, what's going through your head?
I think at this point, you know you've won the Grand Prix. Bear in mind, obviously, the gap behind you at the moment stands at 6.2 seconds. You don't have to get close to Ben Marples. You don't have to get in that dirty air. You don't have to worry about if they make a mistake, and that's what's going to be going through his mind right now. He's aware the penalty will be coming. It's just a case of seeing the race out at this point, making sure he crosses the finish line, making sure he gets that car home, and let the penalty do its thing in the background. But just bring that car home in such treacherous conditions.
Someone who's not just bringing the car home is Angelo, who moves himself up into P5 ahead of Lindhart here. It's up into P5. What a race he is having. A name I don't recognise from last season, so he must have moved up from F4, or maybe he's just a brand new driver to PSGL, but he's having a cracking little race.
Yeah, he is indeed up to P5, of course. He's got Tony about 2.6 seconds up the road from himself at Sixton. I know quite well he won't be willing to let that position go that easily. He'll be on the charge to try and regain that position as quick as he possibly can. Of course, without the DRS assistance, it will be slightly more difficult round here at Silverstone, but the ERS usage in this new game is something that our drivers can really start to perfect. And actually, what I want to just watch here on the right-hand side of your screens as they come down towards Stowe Corner. Some of our drivers starting to cool their tyres off here.
Yeah, now that is the case of these tyres have been on for 8 laps, maybe 9 laps for some drivers. They will be getting more and more worn on these tyres. The intermediates are quite tough tyre set, but the longer they are on, the more tread you use on the tyres. Now, unlike obviously your softs or your mediums or your hards, they don't actually have that much, they don't have any tread on them. So the tread is being worn out as we got a great battle going on here for P18 and 19 as Gabriel goes down, well, goes around the outside as Tamas goes up the inside. Oh, we've got a yellow flag. What's that yellow flag for in Sector 1?
It's Thomas that's got him round in the Ferrari. He was up in P3 at one point in time. He's now down to P7. I'm eagerly awaiting to see if he's got any damage to that car. The front wing looks intact, so hopefully he's got away scot-free here.
He was battling with Tony, wasn't he, for P3. Might have been a little collision there between the two drivers. Hopefully nothing too serious as we continue to move on. That obviously, if that is a problem, that will be looked at the stewards. That is not for me and TK to divulge, or anyone in chat to divulge either.
Yeah, very true. Of course, stewards, they have the final say on these implications. They're well trained. They know what they're looking for. And of course, the penalties will be applied fairly if they so deem. But the battle we're watching at the moment is Sixton trying to regain that position from D'Angelo. They've both been handed essentially a free position after that earlier spin from Thomas. And this is going to go down, I reckon, to the wire.
Certainly is. Now, just had a quick look at the gap to the leader. Ben is clear of P3 right now with his 10-second time penalty. There's a big old snap there from Angelo, almost costs him a position. That is the cause of tyre wear and tyre overheating as well, proving that these tyres, they're not going to have to make another stop, are they, here, TK? I don't think so.
Wow, that's the question I think they'll be going through their mind. How long can they take these tyres? Of course, they went onto them probably, I think, about 9 laps ago or so. They've got another probably 8-9 laps to go on these tyres. You know, they're about at the halfway point. Can they take them all the way to the end? And they will be absolutely... they'll be worrying about it for sure.
They certainly will be worrying about it. Of course, they've got engineers in their ear. They might have us in their ear. Please don't have us in your ear. We're not very helpful in terms of your strategy decisions, because I'd say put on some dry tyres and have some fun, but that's not going to be successful in this point.
Yeah, I'd also share that advice, but of course it's not going to be very helpful to some of our drivers that are competing for the top and the podium positions here. Of course, battles going left, right and centre, and the rain continues to fall over a very wet Silverstone. Hopefully this weekend IRL will be a little bit nicer than this, but at the moment the rain very much hammering our drivers.
Yeah, it certainly is. I actually don't know what the weather is meant to be like for this weekend at Silverstone. A little bit of rain might actually sparkle it up, but we have quite the battle going on there. We have quite the battle going on here in this season. And to be honest with you, considering how well these drivers are driving around Silverstone and how close the battles have been, I expect this season to go really well. We have a little bit of a collision there between Tias and Thomas, but it's nothing too bad. And it looks like Thomas has regained all the time that he lost. He's right on the back of Tias. That is for P11.
Yeah, managing to hold on, and that's what you love to see. A lot of them, of course, teammates here. Tias all the way down to Team those guys will know how each other race. They can race fairly, of course. They wouldn't be here if they couldn't. And this is a fantastic battle. Although I think Thomas potentially dropping off here. The gap now about a second. Of course, he won't be too concerned. DRS no longer a factor. It may be in the later stages, but I think as the laps continue to pass by here of the British Grand Prix, that potential for the soft tyres wears more and more low.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get to dry running here in this race. We had a great start to the Grand Prix on those full wet tyres, and the changeover period was brilliant, and the race has kind of settled in. Unfortunately, I think that 10-second time penalty really killed our battle for the Grand Prix lead, but it doesn't mean we haven't had an exciting race, because the midfield and the sort of just before the podium places, as we battle right now for the final podium spot, Angelo and Tony. And I mean, Angelo has a chance here to jump onto P3, and I mean, he's had one hell of a Grand Prix race. And I I don't know where he started in this race. We have a quick look at the starting grid. He actually started 4th on the grid, so I mean, he's got a chance of jumping up into the podium here, and I think he'll probably deserve this because he's driven so well.
Yeah, he's had a fantastic race so far. He's still looking for those podium positions. Of course, I apologise if you're watching the stream for that very minor screen freeze we had. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But yeah, the battle for the podium is starting to heat up. The laps decreasing, of course. The opportunities to try and make that move will be going through our drivers' heads. You can see in the background, Sixton and Reese starting to try and get involved as well. And it is continuing until the end.
A little bit of sun coming out here, trying to poke through the clouds. It might be a little bit too late, unfortunately, for some of these drivers. But you saw there, going down that main straight, I don't know if Tony was using some ERS, but he had a lot more straight line speed than Angelo did. And I wonder if that's a case of maybe setup differences. But 12 laps on these intermediate tyres now, they're going to be struggling in this Grand Prix. Because if the track starts to get drier and these guys run out of tread, because they basically become, as I was trying to explain earlier when we were looking at a battle, is they basically become dry tyres at one point. And I mean, they still wear a lot. But here we go. This is the chance now for Angelo. He's got 6 laps to try and jump himself up into the podium place ahead of Tony. So he doesn't need to rush this, but he'll want to get it done sooner rather than later because he doesn't want to get pressurized by the man behind him in Linhart. And of course, race is still there as well. We've got basically a 4-car battle for the podium, the last podium position here.
Yeah, we do indeed. Sixton and Reese really starting to get involved now. Massive snap there from Sixton in the background of your shot. But the main two at the moment, Tony and Angelo, as they run down towards the right-hander of Cop's Corner, of course. We've mentioned it time and time again, incidents that have happened over the last couple of years. They're not going to be too concerned about that. It's going to be a case of making sure they can follow the car in front through the corners, set themselves up well for Maggots, Beckett's, and then Chappell, and down the hanger straight they go. Look at this, Sixton really starting to get involved now. He's throwing that car into every single corner and down the hanger straight they go, down towards Stowe. Fantastic racing.
Fantastic race as well. Rehards, by the way, just closed up to 6/10 in front of Ben Marples. So maybe he wants to try and win this on track. Maybe there's a chance Ben Marples can get that penalty removed. But unfortunately, those pit lane penalties are normally slam dunk. But you never know. Maybe if he was exactly on it, you never know what could happen.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rihard's potentially just thinking about covering off any possibilities here. Maybe just wanting to get the win on track for bragging rights as well. Tias Korsman sets the fastest lap of the race here with a 1:35.3 for himself, all the way down in P11. At the moment, there's a battle here down the inside. Goes D'Angelo through the left-hander. There you go. Can he stick it? That's the question. It looks like Tony doesn't have the grip to try and fight it. Giovanni, though, has retired from the session in the pits, but the battle here continues to spice up. Sixton up to P4. He's going to be pushed ever so slightly wide by Angelo. He switches to the outside. He's met, though, by the Aston Martin of Angelo. He's not going to allow him past. Round the right-hander of Luffield they go. Down the inside, looking Sixton. They run towards the old pit straight, but it's not enough grip on Sixton's car this time around.
That was brilliant from Angelo and Sixton. Great battling there. And unfortunately, Tony just lost out on that occasion. It's brought race into play as well. But we're going to go down towards Maggots and Beckett's now. Linhart wants this podium place. here at Silverstone to start this season off. Yelp picks up an unfortunate 3-second time penalty, which is going to actually really harm him because it's going to drop him out of the points as it's, well, out of the top 10, I should say, as it stands. Here we go, down the hanger straight. Is there a chance for Sixton to get up into the top 3? No, not on this occasion. We've got that yellow flag in sector 1, or just holding the car there. I think the tyres are starting to really struggle here, TK, as Zach Miles and Thomas there battling for P7 and P8 with Yelp just in behind. But Yelp's 3-second time penalty is going to really suck later on.
Yeah, it is indeed. You can see Zach Miles and Thomas battling it out. A little bit of contact from Jelte.
Oh.
There's contact, though. Almost a spin between the Ferrari and what I'm assuming is the Williams. The Aston Martin trying to get involved as well. And surely they're not going to go 2 by 2 through the right-hander. Yes, they are. There's a little bit of wheel banging, but they both made it through successfully. Keanu, who's just further behind, is itching at the bit to try and make the move, but he's not going to be successful. He'll have to sit there and wait in P11 at the moment. But Zach Miles still leading this pack, albeit with as little grips he has round the outside, though. Goes Jelte, a double overtake was on the cards, but going off track, he's going to have to give the position back.
Oh, how did TS hold that one on stream? It's like, oh, down the inside goes... Is that Thomas who's jumped into... No, it's Keanu who's jumped into P8. Oh, this is absolutely killer, the battling for P10 here. This is brilliant, and Yelt's lost out. He's fallen down to 11th. And that 3-second time looking more and more horrendous every single lap. Thomas, who thought he was out of battling for the top 10, has found his way back into this battle.
Yeah, Jelte looking like he had absolutely no grip on those tyres there. It was really unfortunate, down to P11. And of course, that 3-second penalty to come as well will really be hampering his race. But he's going to continue, and that's the sportsmanship we start to love. Look at the gap, though, up at the top of the leaderboard. Rihard has dropped Angelo by over 12 seconds, but he's within 3/10 of our race lead as we start lap 23 of 26 of this race.
Yep, and we are still in these intermediate conditions, but the track is definitely looking drier than it was a few minutes ago. But the amount of time you lose in a pit stop around here, I don't think it's enough to try and, go for a soft tyre. Maybe if you want fastest lap of the race, but that would only be towards the back end of the grid.
Yeah, that bonus point will potentially help some of the drivers further down. There's a move here for the lead of the race. Down the inside goes Rihard Sproges with that straight line speed, the slipstream ability that he managed to pick up as they head into the left-hander of Brooklyn Zal through Luffield. And it is a new race leader. Rihard, once again, takes over.
And that was a brilliant move. Rihard has been chasing and chasing. It stopped raining here at Silverstone, TK. It's only spitting now.
It is. It's very light rain now, but I think, as you've said, a little bit too late for a soft tyre opportunity. Maybe some drivers will jump in. Maybe Rihard and Ben actually might be able to get in and out before D'Angelo comes around, but I don't think the delta is a large enough gap at the moment. Sixton's still struggling for grip as he tries to make a move on Angelo. Speaking of which, as they go into Maggots and Beckett's nose to gearbox once again, they are not letting each other go.
They certainly are not. DRS has not been enabled yet, which usually is the sign it's time for dry tyres. But I think it's going to be a little too late. Silverstone is a long old circuit, though, TK. Oh, I think Sixton went for the inside, and Angelo was not budging, and he's found his way through, sort of forced his way through there. And that's going to really cost Angelo, because Tony's now going to go around the outside. Don't think there's anything malicious there by Linhart. I just think he expected Angelo to move over more than he did.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Tony also looks to move as they headed through down Club Corner, down to cross the line to start lap 24 here. Thomas has got past Thomas for P11 and P12 further back. And actually, no, Thomas, I think, has had a bit of a spin. Into the pits, though, is a couple of drivers.
I think he was into the pits. He wants dry tyres. Yeah, he's going for soft tyres, but he's picked up a 10-second time penalty.
That's going to really hamper him later on in the race. They went for the bonus point, but of course that 10 seconds could drop him out the points. Further back, there's a 3-wide move. Zach, Tias and Keanu all continuing to battle it out. Are they going to go 3 wide through the left-hander here? Surely not. Keanu just slots in behind, but Zach Miles and Tias will go wheel to wheel down this straight, down towards Luffield Corner.
I think people are really struggling with the grip levels right now. We've got yellow flag. Where's that yellow flag? In sector 1. I don't know who that's for. There's just a little bit of a room there for Keanu. He found gap. He found a space in the gap. We got a spinner on the? Yeah, we got a spinner on the soft tyres. Thomas.
Yeah, he's really not finding any traction at all. We just cut to him there. He can't get any heat. No traction on the tyres. You can see that rear end really starting to kick out as he tries to put any sort of power down.
Track does look dry though, TK. It looks dry on my screen. I don't know if it's looking dry on yours, but there's still spray coming up, but it looks drier than it was.
Yeah, there's a little bit of spray still coming up from the surface, especially from the intermediate runners, but it's looking drier, that dry line, and that's really what's gotten here, and that's the tell. The track started dry. I don't think it's necessarily dry enough for the intermediates. Sorry, for the soft tyres, though.
No, and I think you're correct. I think the amount of time you lose in a pit stop here is not worth considering going for it. But these tyres will be overheating. They are going to be struggling. Another yellow flag is actually that's Marcel, who is really struggling on those soft tyres. But Angelo's still battling for the lead of the race. We've basically now got a final lap battle coming up here. We're on lap 25 of 26 on intermediate tyres that are slowly running out of grip on a drying track.
We do indeed. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic battle. And of course, Rihard has not been able to drop Ben Marples at the lead of the race. That gap still stands at about 9/10 of a second. Bear in mind, he's got that 10-second penalty, so Sixton can try and gain about 4 seconds over the next couple of corners. That could really start to play him into the P2 contention. But at the moment, as they continue to battle with the drivers behind him, it's not going to be an opportunity. Thomas retires in the pit lane, so unfortunately not going to see this race to its conclusion.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a. It started off well for Thomas and just didn't really go his way in the end, which is a shame. But I'm sure he'll bounce back next Thursday. So right now, Angelo really chasing down the back of Sixten Lindhardt, who's really struggling on the rear end of that car right now. I think the rear end starting to step out, but here he goes. Angelo going to force his way around the outside of Sixten Lindhardt with what grip, you might ask? The grip that he doesn't have, and he tries to do the switchback of dreams, and he might sort it out. Can he brake a bit later on the brakes? Oh, I think he's trying to force his way through. He's got another lap to do it because we're on the last lap here, lap 26 of 26.
Indeed we are. Silverstone always provides some fantastic racing, especially here in PCF3. Keanu's up in position as well, up to P7 after that battle that has been happening further back, but we'll keep your attention up to the battle for the podium position. Down the inside goes Angelo in a last-ditch attempt to try and get a position. There's contact between the three of them. There's a front wing flying off. That is the car of Angelo, who's lost part of their front wing, and I think Sixton's also a bit of a victim as well, but they'll continue down the Wellington Straight for the final time. It's anyone's game here.
And it's anyone's to play. They've got to try and go for everything. I think it was Race who really kicked that off because he went for a late move. And I think everyone's starting to struggle on their tyres a little bit more. And Tony just trying to keep himself in this fight a little bit. But yeah, I think there's some damage on Angelo's car. Yeah, a little bit front left end plate damage there on Angelo's car as we go through Copse Corner, and the tyres are going to be screaming in pain, and Tony finds a way up the inside of Race.
Yeah, fantastic move. Race has front wing damage as well, so that front wing for himself will be really hampering his performance, especially through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. But Sixton will continue to lead this pack, but we'll just jump to the lead of this race where Rihard Sprogges will take victory here in the first race of season 37 of PSGL F3, and he will start as he means to go on.
And Tony jumps into P4. He's ahead of P5 there. Has he got a chance of getting that final podium place off Lindhardt? Couple of corners to go. Yellow flag in the final sector. I don't know who that's for, but Ben Marples did finish second with that 10-second time burning, and Sixten Lindhardt will finish in third. Tony in fourth, Angelo in fifth, Race in sixth. Keanu will be next across the line in seventh. Then Miles, Tumas and Yelt to round out your top 10. Tias will cross the line in P11, followed by Kuba, Ryan, Gabriel, and then, of course, our soft runners of Zlenkovic, Danielle, Tamas, and Marcel rounds out your top 18. But for Rihard Sprogges, it's a return to form, and it's a return to the top step of the podium.
Indeed it is. He said he wanted to come back and show what he is made of, and there is no better way to do it than by winning the opening race of the season in such changeable conditions as well. That is surely a performance he's going to be proud of in the races that come after.
And I think it certainly will be one to remember for the man, Rihard Sprogges, who's back from his break. And now he's back winning Grand Prix once again. And as he said, last couple of people crossing the line to end this Grand Prix. Marcel will be the last man to cross the line. The soft runners just didn't get it in the end.
No, it was a bold strategy. They tried something different. Obviously, they were slower down in the points order. I think it was a bold strategy, hoping the track would dry up quicker than it did, and unfortunately, in one of those situations, it just didn't come for their drivers. And yeah, they unfortunately finished quite low down the order, but a fantastic result nonetheless for Rihards.
TS Korsman picks up driver of the day. We'll go through your driver of the day in a second, TK. But there is your podium finishers, and it is Rihards who wins the Grand Prix. The Austrian national anthem plays out loud. I feel like we've heard that a lot over the years. Thank God it's not combined with the Dutch one. But here we go. We are going to celebrate for the first time on the podium here for F3. The first race is completed. We'll be getting driver interviews in a couple of moments' time. But we'll go through the final running order for today's race. So Rihards progress from 6th on the grid to P1, followed by Ben Marples, who had that 10-second time penalties, which kind of robbed us of that battle for the lead, but he still finishes in 2nd, followed by Linhart from 10th to 3rd, and then we've got Tony, Angelo, Race, Keanu, Zach Miles, Thomas Laminen, Yelt rounds out your top 10. Yelt from 18th to 10th, fantastic performance, has to be said from him, and then it's Tias, Kubo, Ryan, Gabriel, Danielle, Tamas, and Marcel rounds out your top 17, and your 3 retirements were Zelenkovic, Thomas, and Giovanni, who rounds out your top 20.
Some of our drivers here this afternoon, they proved why they deserve to be in this tier. And just briefly before we go to some interviews, who was your driver of the day, Alex?
My driver of the day, you know what? I said it through the whole race. I was really impressed with Angelo in that race. But I'm going to give it to Keanu. 20th to 7th. I think that's a fantastic result.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there. Fantastic drive from themselves, starting at the back of the grid, working their way up through the pack in such difficult conditions. The rain really started to fall, and then it didn't. It dried up right at the end, and he managed to hold on to those key positions, and that is the true drive of a driver of the day. Absolutely fantastic stuff from himself.
Just going to see if I can get some guys in for interviews. We're going to find out. They'll just jump into the waiting room for us. But so yeah, we're just going to grab them into the thing.
Yeah, I think we've got Ben Marples who wants to come in for a quick chat. He's agreed to the interview. Hopefully he'll hop into the waiting room and have a quick chat with us.
Yeah, we're just grabbing them now. As they hopefully will jump in. But we'll wait. But yeah, I think that's a fantastic race to kick off PSGL this season. Thank you all so much for watching as well, because we've I was having a look at the views. We had a cracking number of people watching that whole stream, so thank you very much for everyone. But we're just going to go through the interviews right now. Everyone seems to have agreed to an interview, the top 3.
Lovely.
So we'll go through that top 3 order, starting off with Mr. Sixton in that 3rd. In 3rd, quite the battle. The rest of the field for that 3rd place in changeable conditions. Talk us through the race.
Yeah, I started P10 after getting griefed a bit in quali. And then on the first lap, I got a pretty good start. Got past few people, think I was P7 after. And then I just got to get some clean air, got the people behind me, caught up to the ones ahead. I was just sitting there. Then after the pit stops, I got to overtake a lot of them because I pit 1 lap later. And then just a bit of fighting.
Yeah, and I mean, that was certainly an impressive drive from us. It looked really, really tough. I mean, you had a great battle with, oh, who was it, TK? I've already forgotten my brain on the last lap. I can't remember. The guy I was saying was Angelo.
Yes.
You had a great battle with Angelo, and I mean, I hadn't seen him race before, but obviously I've seen you race a lot, Linhart. And did you feel like you have, like, obviously I know the front 2 got away quite a lot, but I think that's not really on you. You obviously started further back on the grid. Do you think you can sort of challenge for this title this year?
I hope so. I mean, my pace in quali would have been definitely pole if I didn't get that in quali, the issue there. So I think I can definitely challenge for the title, or at least top 3. That'll be my goal.
That's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. But thank you so much, Linhart, for coming in for an interview. And I assume you'll be racing next Thursday?
Absolutely.
Awesome. We'll see you then. Thank you, mate.
Cheers.
So we're going to jump in. We're going to bring in Ben Marples, who finished in second place here in the first round here in F3. Very unfortunate to pick up that 10-second time penalty in the pits, which kind of robbed us of that battle for the lead. But I think you've still got to be proud of your performance, mate, because you were right up there with Rehards the whole time.
Yeah, I was. It was a good pace. It was good pace with Rehards. It was a very boring race, to be honest.
Ye-
Once I got the 10 seconds, I was like, I started swearing. I started like, oh my god. But then I just focused, got my head down, and I managed to gap P3. So managed to get P2 and fastest lap. I think. Did I get fastest lap?
I believe you did. Yeah, I want to say
Yeah.
it was either you or some other driver. I can't remember who it was because the track was drying towards the end of the session. So
Yeah.
I assume there was never a point where you thought, let's go for the soft tires.
Nope. I've done plenty of wet races before, and it looks like it's dry. And this game, like the visuals, like yeah, it's dry, but then you go on the slicks, and yeah, you just start spinning around. It's not good.
Well, tire warm up is so important in this year's game. I'm not surprised. But yeah, let's
Yeah.
talk through the quick. So obviously qualified on pole.
Yes.
Great lap in qualifying. Didn't even need to improve your final lap because no one could match your time, which is a great sign. Obviously, you had a great start. Rehards was chasing you both, swapping fastest lap, and of course, yeah. Unfortunately, we've all been there. We've all sped in the pit
Yeah.
lane. It's a thing that everyone's done. So that's something that obviously that will just happen, especially in wet conditions like that. And obviously, put on the inters, and then you and sort of Rehards again was sort of swapping paces. You gapped P3 as you said, and then you sort of did you let him pass in the end, or was he just going straight past you? What was the play there?
Well, there was a stage. I think it was like lap 20. He was like 6 tenths behind me, and I knew I was not going to fight him. But then he made a mistake, so then I gapped him again by like 1.5 seconds. Then he managed to. I think he had better tires with like the heating issues. I was overheating my rears, but
Yeah.
when he was like 3 tenths behind me, I was like, yeah, there's no point fighting because if I fight him, I'm gonna lose P3. So yeah.
Well, very
Uh,
smart decision. Also, great mentality as well to get out because
Hmm.
so many drivers, if they had that 10-second time penalty, as you said, obviously you do the swearing, you do the angry, you get annoyed,
yeah.
hate yourself for speeding, but then to have the mentality to switch back to it's race mode again and go for it, that's fantastic.
Yeah, the funny thing is, was before, like, my engineer told me to box this lap, yeah, that's fine, okay. And then I was telling myself, don't speed in the pit lane, don't speed in the pit lane.
Yeah.
And I sped in the pit lane, and I was like, God's sake.
I was about to say on commentary as well, and just as I said it, you sped in the pit lane, and I was like, "Oh, the commentator curse strikes again." So you can blame me. That's the main reason what happened. But yeah, so are you racing next Thursday as well, I assume?
Yes, definitely.
And you think you've got the pace to challenge for the title this year?
Let's hope so. I don't see why not. If my quali pace is good, usually my race pace is much better than my quali pace. Um, but I'm surprised I got pole today, to be honest. But hey, we take those, and hopefully we'll be able to challenge for the title today. But we'll see what happens.
See what happens. It's a long old season, and I'm
Yes.
sure everyone's going to get better. And obviously, there's a chance that stuff might change again. We never know. So,
Yes.
you Ben
Um,
for joining us. It's been a pleasure interviewing you.
no worries. Just say GG's to Viards and Sixten.
Awesome,
Great
awesome. That's
Yeah.
what we like to hear.
Bye. Bye.
So we're going to bring in now your race winner, and he's definitely muted. So I'm going to wait. There we go. And Rehard is back from his break, and he's on the top step of the podium. And what a win that was. I know, obviously, the 10-second time pony in front, but it didn't matter because you had the pace to catch him in the end. And yeah, talk us through that race.
Well, all day I was struggling when I was practicing. I was doing like 0.2, 0.1s at best in qualifying, so I wasn't really looking forward to the race. But yeah, of the first bankers, I was P12. I was looking like a little bit sketchy, but at the end got P6, and I was happy, let's say it like that. But then I saw rain, and I was honestly so happy because I'm a rain merchant, you know. But yeah, I wasn't really expecting the pace to be like this fast. I was expecting, I can make up some positions, maybe a podium, but being like P3, P2 in like 3 laps was incredible. Then yeah, the only problem I was seeing was Ben. His pace was phenomenal as well. But yeah, I saw the 10 seconds because for the speeding in the pit lane, and then I was chilling. I was trying to not get gapped. Was trying to get a slipstream, and yeah, just the engineer was saying the pace was good. I was gapping the whole field really good, and yeah, was looking to get ahead of Ben because I didn't want to finish second, because you always want to finish first. But yeah, our race was fantastic. Feeling is good. Good to start. Good to start the season with a win, and looking forward to next races.
I mean, that's a very comprehensive review of the race. I
Mm.
don't have to ask any really major follow-up questions. But yeah, I mean, obviously the 10-second time penalty, you take them, and yeah, Ben had great pace through the whole thing. But I think we've got a real title fight on our hands, hopefully this season. And you think you can get the title this season? Is that the goal?
There is no doubt I'm not getting it. I hope so.
Well, that's a confident man right there. We like confidence. So I assume we'll be seeing you next Thursday then as well.
Yep. Hopefully.
Hopefully, we'll see. Well, thank you really hard for having a chat with us, mate.
Yep. Thank you.
Cheers. And the end of our first PSGL race
Yes.
together. Have you enjoyed the PSGL experience?
I've absolutely loved it. I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. I'm looking forward to continuing on with the season. Of course, lots of great racing still to come for all of us. One thing I did say we were going to do that we never actually got round to was having a look at the race calendar for this season. So should we go have a look at that very briefly before we finish?
Yeah, we'll have a quick, brief look at the. So let's see what the race calendar is. Now, of course, we start off here with Silverstone. F2 and F4 are going on right now, so please go and tune into those once you have finished watching this stream. So we start off with Silverstone today. Brilliant race. Obviously, Rihard's winning on his return. Brilliant Grand Prix for him. We have Miami next Thursday. We know what that circuit is like. It's very tricky, very technical. Can be rain as well around Miami as well. Then obviously we've got Austria. Then we've got a week's break, which is a shame, but of course we all need breaks from time to time. And then we come back on August 1st with Spain. Then we go to Hungary, Japan, Jeddah, Mexico, Belgium, Monza, Qatar, and we round the season off in Brazil, as is always a perfect end to a Grand Prix season. 12 races this season, 1 down, 11 to go. And I mean, if we've got anything to go on from that race, it's going to be a cracking season.
There's lots to look forward to over the course of the season. And yeah, lots of fantastic racing, all coming to conclusion around Interlagos. And what a fantastic circuit that is going to be in 11 races' time.
Well, we'll see what happens in 11 races' time. That's not till September, though. So we've still got a lot of months to go until we get there. But thank you all very much for tuning in to this race. Of course, that has been TK on my side. His first PSGL race. You can check him out at his tag, at They Call Me TK. You can check me out at Deflink. I'm also known as Alex Heron. I have 2 very different names. It's very distinct, as you might say. But yes, thank you very much for watching. Please follow all of the PSGL stuff. Join the Discord. Get involved in talking and talking about the season that's going on right now, because it could be one of the best we've had in a long old time. But yeah, tune in to F2 and tune into F4 that's going on right now. And until then, we will be back at 7 p.m. next Thursday.
locked in on cup though. Cocaine